What is this church we find ourselves in? The Church of the Beach. You know, it's a beautiful church. It's a religion, even in winter. And there it is, my religion, the ocean. What can we say about religion? Quite a lot. I could discuss religion for hours. But just to say, I was brought up Catholic, and I was incredibly involved in my religion as a Catholic. Till about the age of 36, I was absolutely, totally practicing Catholic. I still consider myself a Catholic, but I was definitely brainwashed as a young guy. I was the eldest of three boys, two incredibly loving parents, and who were deeply involved in their religion. And in those days, as they grew up, it was so so put into their heads that religion was the way to go to get to heaven, to reach their God, that they just naturally just put it into us as kids. And so we just accepted it, and it took me a long time. In fact, I was so involved in it from a liturgical point of view. I was involved in music and choirs and making the liturgy of the Mass, which is what we have in the Catholic religion, a incredibly inviting and welcoming and wonderful celebration of love, which is religion really at its best. But by the time I was married and had kids, and we were sitting in a dull church, and despite the fact that I picked up my guitar and helped out, I couldn't make that Mass anything like the experience that I'd had as a younger guy. I realized how dry it was, how repetitive, how almost meaningless it was in our lives, and with busy lives and with raising kids and traveling. We eventually stopped going to church every week. And ultimately I then started exploring other ways of thinking about how I live my life in a religious or not religious sense. And that was a real awakening for me. I found that having the ability to look at other religions, having a look at other philosophies, and I was never scared of science. I was always thought that science and religion could be brought together, really, and I still think that in a sense. The problem I have with religion is that people that prescribe to one particular religion are dismissive of everything else. And it's that intolerance that I found most distasteful about religion now. And I'm really with the dreamers and the poets and the philosophers that feel that religion actually divides us so much more than it helps us be together. And, you know, the whole horror of my Catholic church, and in fact all of the churches, with the scandals around pedophilia, is just so incredibly saddening and so disillusioning for one's faith that it really is a major factor in abandoning formal religion. But in abandoning a religion, you take on all the best of the philosophies of all the other religions. There are good aspects and good philosophies in all. And in fact, I think the basic tenet of religion is love. And love, for me, as far as I can tell, as far as I can prove in the universe, God is love. And that's all there is that I can really tell, you know. And if you kind of work your life around that and work your philosophy around that, you're not going to go too far from the truth and too far from where you need to be as a human. You don't need to be told by a priest or a rabbi or anyone in an institutionalized form how to live your life. You can listen and you can take on the very best of what is said. But you don't need to take on one particular religious practice to be a good person in this world. I certainly don't believe that. So I'm still exploring, you know. I guess people drift in and out of philosophies, and I'm keeping an open mind about God, about love, because it's just something you can keep exploring for the whole of your life, and trying to figure out the best way to allow that force through your spirit into the world. So I'm not negative on religion. I'm negative on the institution of religion, and I reject people that are fundamental about a particular religion. And sadly, I see it in some friends and family, and that are just so stuck in a groove. It's like a record on a vinyl that's stuck, and they just cannot look beyond their own little philosophy, or what they're told is to be their philosophy. And so often these institutionalized religious philosophies are based around tithing and giving money to an institution and keeping that institution alive for the hell of it, for the sake of it. So anyway, I think it's simple. Your religion should center around how you love the world, how you love people in the world and nature. It's not paganism, it's bringing all the philosophies together. That's how I see it.